Oh, well, hey, ho, everybody. Welcome back. It's the Square to Circle Music Channel. It's me, your pal, your host, Mage. That's right. Happy freaking holidays, everybody. How y'all doing? I've been having a good time. Been decorating the house. Been decking the halls, so to speak. And been working hard. It's been cold. Crazy week. Oh, we've been having like water main breakings and sewer line breakings and all kinds of fun shit. I've been digging holes basically and kind of like swamping around the property for the last week. So, but hey, it's the holiday season, so whoop-de-doo. I did get a chance to go out last weekend and find some neat things around town. So here we are again. I'm going to do the tales from the thrift that I like to do. Yeah, what else happened this week? Not a lot. Kind of a boring life, I suppose. But I do have some neat things to show you guys. So let me pull them out. Tis the season, it being that time of the year, the most wonderful time of the year, just in case anyone else was confused about that. I'm always on the hunt for great Christmas albums. I like Christmas music, a lot of it. Some of it's really awful and corny and cheese dick as hell, but the stuff I like sometimes people really write off as like being incredibly corny, but I don't know. Some of the corniest stuff I like. I really like Perry Como, and this is one of his most cherished classics. Like I think this was his very first of all his Christmas albums that he did. And it's got just, a list of just insane, just all the bangers, man. And yeah, so I'm glad I found this Perry Como record that's in fantastic condition for $2. You can't turn that shit away. Got some Flotsam and Jetsam on there. But yeah, besides the random particulate of dust, it's like shimmering and shining, so makes the season that much brighter. I love Perry Como. Here's a great swath of cool shit that I haven't had for a long time. I actually bought this way back when I started collecting again, after I got sober, and I was like, hey, I got a few extra bucks to throw around. I started collecting records seriously back in my early 30s. And this was one of the first records that I bought just at a Junkstore for $1, just because I loved the art. And I remember the music's really fantastic. It's just some kind of late 70s, kind of post. No, I don't want to say it's not really post-prog. It's just kind of it's pop punk with kind of proggish elements, but not so kind of just radio friendly as Styx and Supertramp and whatever the fuck else. This was just kind of a little bit more kind of independent, and no one really talked about it much. I think they're rad. Sad Cafe. Album's called Misplaced Ideals. But I bought it because of the art, because I fucking love this art. It's amazing. Yeah, reminds me of someone and something. But yeah, cool album. Glad to have this in my collection again for a couple bucks. Another one that was super cheap. I love Kitaro. Kitaro is one I've never seen this one. I've never seen the cover. Tun Hung? I don't know. I'm sorry. Anyone that is a Mandarin or Cantonese speaker. I'm assuming that's Mandarin. Yeah, Tun Hung. It's gorgeous though. Look at the art. Oh my God. Wowzers. And I do love Kitaro to death. I have the Key album. And that's really I have the shit, I always confuse the name of this. It's Silk Road. Yeah, I have the Silk Road album part 1 and 2 on cassette and on LP. Also the Key album. I have a Japanese pressing with the Obi strip of the album Key, and now I have some of this. It's beautiful. Oh, lucky me. I have to bore you to death here about a few more, but I'm challenging myself, trying to collect an entire catalog, which is not all too difficult because they are really, really common, especially here on the west coast of the United States of America. These records are fucking everywhere because they were primarily pressed, and most of the artists, the founding members and all the other members, were primarily from Bay Area, San Francisco, California, and like Northern California, north of the Bay, like, you know, Berkeley and whatever. What are some other cities north of the Bay? Sacramento and Mendocino County, everywhere in there, and then smattered all throughout here in, you know, Oregon and Washington State, and even up into Canada, BC. A lot of these hippie bastions, you know, that continued throughout the late 70s and 80s, 90s, and beyond. I'm talking, of course, about the Windham Hill record label, going for an entire catalog collect of all this. So I'm luckily stumbling across a whole bunch of them. I found a harder to find Michael Manring album, amazing bass player, upright. He doesn't always play upright, but here's him with his like fretless. He has that kind of like, you know, that standard jazz fretless sound that it's quite lovely, really. I think he has at least probably 2 or 3 solo efforts on the Windham Hill label, but he also, of course, appears, courtesy of the Windham Hill label, on like more than a dozen of other people's albums. So really cool to find that. Another one, actually, this one I was very excited to find this. They've caught on at the little honey hole, the little hideaway spot that I've been talking about, where I can find all this really cool, like, stuff I think is cool. All this new jazz and, you know, whatever, stuff from the 70s and 80s that I like. They're on to me, and they're noticing that I'm buying all these, so they keep stocking and bringing more in hopes that I'll keep buying them. And they're getting me. They're getting me there. The stuff that I need. This one is a real rarity. I've never seen it. Dave Qualley and the Soliloquy album. Yeah, just beautiful. Solo guitar. So now I have that one. And I think this is probably the last of the William Ackerman, who's the founding member, the founder of the record label. It's his label. This is the last one I needed of his. It Takes a Year, it's called. So Greg put this out on the shelves for me at the House of Records. Yeah, pretty cool. Oh, and I got bamboozled. I just assumed, and I was like, oh, I know there's, because this dude has so many on Windham Hill, and I don't have them all perfectly, like, photograph memory of them. And I have, you know, I am doing a Discogs checklist and everything like that too, but I didn't check my Discogs. I just assumed. And the art is gorgeous. I had no idea that he was doing albums for other labels, but Scott Kosu, his Spirals album, which is not on the Windham Hill label. It's on something else. I can't read it. I need glasses, but I haven't spun it yet. I'm sure it's great. It's just more Scott Kosu, but really cool art. And I'll hold on to it, even though it's not part of my catalog collect. Big bummer. Here's one I've been wanting for a long time, because you don't really come across it. I have a few of his other albums, but this Tropea album, Short Trip to Space, look at that fucking art. Gorgeous. Yeah, and of course, you know, fusion jazz guitar of the 70s, early 70s, right? No, late 70s, sorry, 77. So happy to have this in my collection now. It was a great find this week. Here's some stuff that I got on trade. Trade credits from the House of Records. Bless you, House of Records. Eugene, Oregon. Operated locally since 1970. That's right. They're over 50 years old now. It's a special place. And this was a used copy of a Christmas album that I needed. I must have. And now I have it. I think it's a great movie. I love this movie. It's one of my favorite Christmas movies. I think Will Ferrell is a comedic genius. And yeah, best represented in this movie. And this album is a banger. For anyone that likes Christmas music, she's so cute. What's her name? Zoe Deschanel. That's right. And her and Leon Redbone do that really fantastic duet, Baby It's Cold Outside. You know, really charming other stuff by Leon Redbone, because he appeared in the film too. This is one of the last things, well, not one of the last things he did before he died. He died well after this movie was put out. This movie was put out in 2003. And I'm fairly certain that Leon Redbone lived to be at least until 2010. I saw him, I think, in 2011, 2012, maybe. I guess I'll have to check my dates. But he's magnificent on this album. And then it's just loaded with other, you know, magnificent classics, but mostly jazz, which is really nice, you know. Lena Horne, you know, Louis Prima, Ella Fitzgerald. You know, it's great. Happy to have that. A used price too, which is great. Of course, it was a trade credit, so I didn't pay anything for it. But as a used record, it was like $8 or something like that, maybe 10. Pretty rad. What else did I get? Ooh, I got this at a record show that I did, which unfortunately was kind of a bust for me. I was hoping to have a little bit of extra cabbage to toss around, it being the Christmas time and all. I did a record show, a swap meet thing, downtown Eugene. Hauled all my goddamn records all the way up a flight of stairs and sat there for 6 fucking hours on my day off, and made almost no money. But it's okay, because I found this really fucking cool record. Look at this, guys. Oh my God. Gorgeous. Super cool. Spaces. And the list goes, here's the roster for you. Larry Coryell on guitar, John McLaughlin on guitar, Chick Corea on the electric piano, Miroslav Vitu on bass, and Billy Cobham on drums. Holy shit. What a lineup. And yeah, what a beautiful looking album too. So, oh, not a gatefold. I thought it was a gatefold. On that Vanguard label puts out all kinds of beautiful, dope fucking fusion jazz. I especially love them. They've released a lot of that band Oregon that I love. They put out at least probably 2 or 3 of Oregon's albums back in the mid 70s. So that's really super cool. Here's another neat, cosmic, beautiful piece of art there. I like the balding man staring at the moon. It's really, I don't know. It feels comfortable. Feels like home. And the music's awesome. It's like, it's more of that stuff I love. I have a whole bunch of it now in my collection. What are they calling it these days? They're calling it cosmic cowboy music or cosmic country, I think. It's just kind of really cool, ethereal, ambient stuff where they're using, you know, pedal steel guitar with other like synth and like all kinds of cool stuff. And it's just this really great fusion that I love of Americana and classical ambient stylings and electronic stylings. It's, I don't know, it's really cool. This guy's not quite like that. It has those elements. But this is a local dude. I don't think he's from Eugene. Maybe he's from Portland, but a lot of this stuff was recorded and taken from places in Portland, the Albatross in Astoria, Oregon. So I'm assuming the guy's from in and around the Portland area, but really great singer-songwriter, guitar player. You know, quite a wordsmith. It's pretty fun. It's pretty cool. It reminds me a lot of like John Prine, what John Prine was doing in the 70s. Elements of like kind of, I hear some of that kind of more postmodern Americana stuff, like what Neutral Milk Hotel was doing, and yeah, I don't know, it's really fantastic. Really just kind of like rootsy country, not bluegrass. It has bluegrass elements, but yeah, cosmic country, man. But this one being, like I said, more kind of like lyrical and singer-songwriter based and centered. It's really great. The Moon and Other Things, it's titled. The artist, Bart Budwig. Bart Budwig. Budwig, I'm not sure how he pronounces it, but yeah, The Moon and Other Things. It's really great, guys. Check it out. Kind of like Iron and Wine a little bit. No, I mean the music is reminiscent of that style. You know, that just guitar picking, Americana, kind of soft spoken kind of stuff. A little less of the feminine influence in this music. Again, I'm just buying LPs all the time now for, I'm like making space up here so I can just like, so I can look at my LPs rather than, I don't know, it's hard to find time to spin music a lot. And I'm yearning more to just kind of like look at the art when I'm around my house. And so I'm trying to find ways of displaying these things I buy. You've all seen this around a million times, but I just love this like kitschy 80s art. was kind of like, this was around when I was growing up, and I love it. It's just a new rock sampler. It's got some cool shit on it, some Joan Jett and some Ozzy Osbourne, a Dregs song, a Crocus song. Uh, yeah, Loverboy and Bryan Adams, John Cougar, of course. But I just really love the cover art. And when it's, you know, a couple dollars, $2, whatever, it'll be fun to display. Super cool. This one's similar art, similar styles of what I'm really kind of digging again. You know, and I've talked about that group all the time. I just gush about them. It was one of my favorite albums of 2020 years ago. More of that kind of cosmic country, like I was talking about, that kind of folksy, psychedelic, you know, transcendental type of stuff. This is more of that. I caught a quick listen at the record store, and I knew instantaneously, and especially after reading the hype, you know, the hype label, I'm just like, yeah, this is totally for fucking me. This is going to be amazing. And I love the title. I can associate a lot. One of my favorite albums and one of my favorite songs and lyrical undertones and concepts that I, you know, really kind of latched onto and associated a lot with years in the past, of just kind of longing to be something greater than I am. I know a lot of men have battle with that type of feeling and emotion, especially as you start getting a little bit older and you're feeling the weight of, you know, of age and time and everything kind of crashing down on you a little bit. You kind of are like longing to get that feeling again, longing to be the mountain. The album that I'm speaking of is that band King Buffalo. They did an album, and that was the title of the album, and a track, the title track song is amazing. And this is kind of just like a continuation of that thought and idea by a man named Jeffrey Silverstein. And in Jeffrey Silverstein's universe, you become the mountain. Rather than longing to be it, you just decide to become it. And it's kind of cool. Cool concept. The music's going to be amazing. Like I said, it's more of that like kind of cool cosmic country stuff. And yeah, I'm gonna take baths in this shit. Doesn't this look magnificent? Yeah, cool stuff. Some more kind of trancey shit that I'm really into. Always been a big fan of, you know, krautrock and electronic and neat stuff. I've had a copy of this a long time ago. Yeah, more than a decade ago, I'm sure. And it's been a while, so I'm going to revisit this. I had a different copy. I had the import of this, but Michael Hennig, Departure from the Northern Wasteland. I kind of like this U.S. pressing cover a lot more. Remember the German pressing? Sorry, everybody, I'm having some bubble hiccups here. The German issue that I had was it was just like a solid black cover. Not solid black, but it just kind of had darker tones. It didn't have these cool air balloons, and just, I don't know. I like the art style and his fucking signature up here, Michael Hennig. You know, it just looks really cool. So yeah, love this shit. Excited about that. That was another one I found at the. They put it there for me at that cool little honey hole that I keep talking about. Yeah, it's this really cool, like, you know, independent bookstore in Eugene called Tsunami Books. If anybody's blowing through Eugene, Oregon, stop at Tsunami Books. It's been there for 50 fucking years, probably more. Yeah, we're one of the last bastions of goofy hippie people. It's pretty fun. I'll button things up, guys, because I'm hungry. I need to get some dinner. It's been a long week, like I said. I've just been like digging fucking trenches, basically humping trenches for the last fucking 3 days at work. Cold ground, pipes are brittle. It's an old property. These buildings are 45 years old. So, sorry, a little more kind of personal bullshit about me, but this is kind of the way I'm gearing this. I've been working for this company for quite a while now, and I've been living on the property for a while, and the way I'm kind of like designing my future, I'm kind of looking to kind of inherit this this position as like a supervisory position of this place. With, you know, 4 city blocks, it's fucking 8 acres, almost 300 units. on property that's, like I said, the substructure's just like corroding. So what am I going to inherit? Do I want to do this for another 15 years? Okay, enough of that. So luckily I have a little bit of Christmas in my heart. Everything's lighting up my life right now. I love this season. Especially love enjoying this type of music. This is some more of my Tinkle Tunes. I haven't done a Tinkle Tunes episode in a long time. It's been months. Maybe I'll talk about some Tinkle Tunes in the next few weeks. For some of my loyal viewership who appreciates the softer things in life, we all love Harold Budd. I've had this many times before. I sold it. It was before he'd passed. He passed a couple years ago now. Back in 2020, I think it wasn't it December of 2020 that Harold Budd left this situation? But yeah, I sold this, and I shouldn't have, and now I have it again. I have since reacquired it, and this copy is even much nicer than the copy that I used to have. It's still in the shrink, which is awesome. So basically a near mint copy of Lovely Thunder by Harold Budd. It's like 1987, I believe, right? On that editions label that he and Brian Eno co-created, collaborated on everything on. When did he put this out? It was earlier in '86. But yeah, he had a string of just like insane shit. Like all the Pearl album with Eno in, I think, '88. Right after this, right before this, he did White Arcades. I think White Arcades is probably my favorite Harold Budd album. Yeah, bless his soul. His music shall linger on for ages upon ages. Hooray for Harold Budd, and this album specifically. Really glad to have it back in my collection. Yeah, this was a lucky grab from a place where, I mean, I don't go in there all the time. She's always got some really fantastic stuff, but she doesn't have a lot in the way of used. Like her used library is still kind of like, she's young, she's new. Not new to the game. She's definitely a veteran of collecting and knowing her shit. But her business has only been alive for about 5 years, maybe 6 years. Well, it's probably been a little bit longer, but she buys just a lot of new stuff for her customers. So you can always get really great prices on new presses of things that they're putting out. But the used game there is, it's tough to find really great shit sometimes. But shout out Moonrock Records. Love Moonrock Records in Eugene, Oregon on 11th Avenue. So thanks, Callie, for the Harold Budd album. Appreciate that. I hope everybody's having a wonderful season, and peace be with you. Later, bitches.